Welcome back to Potatoes, to episode 15 of Empyrion Galactic Survival in Alpha 6. As you can see, I did complete collapsing the entire abandoned mine. Just kind of looking through the window because I don't want to stand in the rain. There's a thunderstorm out right now, or I guess just storm, but as you can see, as I described, it ends up being just a big block, big square hole, which is just the nature of this particular beastie. But as we take a look here, as I had said, I separated out, went from the bottom up, but we got a whole bunch of blocks. Some of the weapons and such that we got earlier, those we had, I think, by the end of the episode, but from here and up, we got a bunch more. Large constructors and various things. The thing I found interesting this time, they have changed the alien blocks. The alien blocks, when you harvested them in the past, would come up as a, quote, alien block. But now they are being reconstructed as a combat steel block, which is great because that gives you the saphium and such from the hardened steel plates, which is one of the components, so that will certainly make it easier to create the cemetery when we are done creating the corpse, the space place. We got this here, I'll leave that there for a second so you can see. And I think this is the last one here. Yeah, it is, because you can see it's not quite full there. And the other side note that I did get in the process, I think there were 4 water, which I just threw right in the food processor, and a few of the charges, which of course got used in the process. Sorry about the chirp. Keep forgetting to turn my damn phone off when I do that, but somebody just uploaded a video. Okay, great. Now, for this episode, I think what we will do, because I am still waiting for, in fact, before I go in here, go back over to the factory, I am still waiting for the rest of the concrete blocks to craft. I got about 4,500 in the main constructor, and temporarily I did throw on top 2 more additional large constructors, as I made them actually, but silly me, because I had them actually in the loot, which I didn't realize when I crafted them, but I have a bunch going in here as well. So when those are done, we will have enough, because as you can see in the factory here, we're down to 4.5 hours as it stands. We have about 15,000 more of the concrete blocks to craft before this blueprint is done. So I figured I would split up the load and put it in 3 constructors, because they do take quite a while. I made, about maybe 20,000, 15 or 20,000, somewhere in that neighborhood. I'm not quite sure exactly, while I was decompiling this entire base here. That is a larger base, so I will go after some smaller ones in the meantime while we are waiting to do that, most of which I will do off camera. But I think the one to do, we will go ahead and let's see if I can remember which one is it. It's not the food. I want to go after the one. Not afraid, those are kill beasts, I think. Find and kill. Custom tours, I think, is the one we want. Yeah, for the POIs. So I figured we'd go over to a Titan, which is nearby. I think the mid section is right nearby, so I'll start there, and because that is a no mob, very easy going base. Just basically I'll go there and deconstruct it while I am waiting for the factories, or the constructors rather, to complete making the blocks to complete our base. And silly me, I did not actually, okay, F1 rat, I did not actually activate it, so let's go ahead and activate this mission. We do of course have one created, the abandoned mine, which is the one that was right here, but next I'll go head over to the Titan. Before I head over there, however, I will in fact settle all the loot that we got and put it in its appropriate places within the within my cargo holds, and then we will depart from there and head over to the Titan. Very well, all the loot is now put away and daylight is arriving. See, we're only 1 kilometer away from the Titan. As I said, it's quite nearby. I am not certain when exactly we get the update, whether it's if we can do it while we're still in the ship, or if I need to land first, but obviously I will land first anyway. This is actually the midsection that we're approaching here. I guess we will need to get out, so this is one of the smaller chunks of it, but as you can see, there we go. It's actually completed the Aqua you see over there on the left. So we now have that update for the quest. At this point, as you can see, actually, now that we're outside, you can see where I just slapped the 2 large constructors down on the wings, one on either wing, basically, just haphazardly. Those will not last there very long, of course, but at this point, I will now deconstruct this base and see what we get out of this mess while we're waiting for the concrete to complete. So as you can see, I started by doing a bit of digging. Just wanted to point out, you can see kind of how high the dirt is, I believe that's in most cases on the placement of it. But I wanted to point out where the core is. It's basically located in between the pillars that you can see are pretty much spanning the ship. But there is the core there. So I will, as usual, take it out, drop a core in, and then pretty much absorb this base, or this ship in this case, I suppose, into our loot pool. The time it took me to dig has been, I don't know, a little over an hour, I suppose, spent. But at this point, the blocks that we have going in the 3 constructors are about halfway through, so we're getting close. By the time we collapse this entirely, I'm sure we will have the time. This should be about ready to spawn, although I'm not sure that we are going to quite knock out the time involved. There's still about 4 hours or so remaining on the clock in the factory, I want to say. Let's see, is that right? Yeah, 4.5 even. By the time we knock that, I dare say it will be down probably, I'm guessing, to 2 hours or so. But, we'll go ahead and replace the core. And then proceed forward to collapse the base. There's no power, etc. There are a few loot containers, which now that the core is in place, we can actually access it directly through the control panel of it. And let's just see, we got 20 cargo boxes to go through, so we've got quite a bit of loot actually, even before we collapse it, but a few thrusters and things of that nature, but we'll do that right from here. Once that is complete, I'll do as I did before and throw it all in a cargo within the ship, and then I'll show those before I put it in their appropriate places. Upon completing that statement, though, before I do start this, I will also add that we actually did get 3 of the minor cores. You may have seen that within the loot display that I showed at the very beginning of the episode. So that will give us the 3, in fact, that we will need to get the other 3 resources. So I will then have 1 on each of the resources on stable basis, which I'll use the large fuel packs, what do you call them, the hydrogen combination pack things, so they do last quite a while. I have had them running here on the planet on Aqua for a while now, and they've gone about halfway down, so that's over 24 hours or so game time, I think. By the time we collect them at the end, we'll have plenty of resources, but I'm holding off on actually collecting them until we do get the actual corpse in place, because I will need the space to put it all. So it kind of gives you an idea of how many resources I have. So resources were beyond the point rather, of the needs to collect resources manually. At this point, the automation will keep up, and we should have enough to do just about whatever we need. It's really more a matter of time. Those bases, however, I do want to continue on and say that I would never have found those if I did not collapse the entire base, because they were really squirrely off in the very little corners here and there. However, I will state that they were apparently connected to the air ducts that are now installed in there with the updates for the 6.0 build of the abandoned mine. So if you do the abandoned mine, I would recommend going down every pathway, because those are 2 additional red cargo containers. Just a little experiment for Max, who was asking as I'm recording this on my field of view. But yes, it is set all the way to max apparently. It's kind of funny, when I set it back to 70, which was a number that you were asking about, you can see kind of through the settings screen, that's probably the default. And to me, Max, you say it looks weird to you at 40. Well, to me, this looks weird. It looks like I'm looking down tunnel vision now by comparison. So yeah, this is probably the default. You can definitely see more of the field. It's a little more peripheral vision, but I find it helps with targeting a bit. I likely changed that ages ago and forgot all about it, because 40, which is where it was set at, is zoomed in all the way, which helps me target a little better. As y'all have witnessed, I'm a little imprecise on my targeting more often than not. And there we are. Looks like I made a few too many of the bricks, but c'est la vie, they'll get used eventually, I imagine, as I'm building something somewhere. But final verdict is 2 hours real time to produce the base. So we'll go ahead and start that, and that's launching. Put the rest of the stuff away, but as you can see, I've been still cranking away at the base. I'm about halfway through it now, or the Titan, I should say. But by the time that's done, it'll be just about 2 hours. Even if it's not, I will head up to space and we will go find a location for the base for when it is complete. So as you can see, we're down to about a half hour left of real time for the corpse to finish completion. And likewise, you can see now that the base, or the Titan midsection, is now just a hole in the ground. You can see where I dug around to get through to some of the blocks that are actually located underground. But now it's time for us to move on to another location. I think on the ride, since we do have a bit of time, we will stop by and collect the update from the crashed ship on the moon, which you can see in the right, as well as we can also stop by the Aqua trading station and get that update and work further on our quest series in knocking those out one by one. You will also see, as I open the control panel here, the loot that we acquired from this base. It was not nearly as much as the abandoned mining facility, of course, but we did get a number of blocks and things of that nature, a few thrusters, which we can throw in for the next item that we create through the blueprint library. Here's the other one. So we did get some resources and the like. So, with that said, we'll go ahead and turn on our engines, as well as the weapons. I still do not believe there are any of the drones reappearing in the atmosphere. We will take a look at that as we get up there, but I'll see you up in space. And here we are, about 1 kilometer away from the moon, so we will go down and check that out. As I exit the cockpit, however, I am going to switch my armor. We will use the EVA suit, which I can't remember which one that is. Probably this one. Yes, it is. Okay. Which will allow us the additional comfort zone and temperature, so we won't get radiated or frozen as we're out in space. I am just going to take the small vessel down to search for the crashed ship. Let's see, do we have power and all that? Oops, I guess I actually don't have power in my backpack. Forgotten I had taken that out as I emptied my inventory, so we'll go ahead and take that as well. Down here, maybe consumables, I think. Yeah, okay, here we go. We'll take that with us just to make sure we don't run out. We should probably take some oxygen too as I think about it. Go down to our resources and oxygen. Of course I choose the empty one. Nature of my luck. There we go. Just to make sure we have plenty to do what we need to do down there. We'll power us up. And movement on, and I guess that's all there is to it. And off we go to the planet. When I find the crashed ship, I will bring you back in. And here we are on the map. There's the crashed capital vessel, which I believe is the update we will need. So I'll go ahead and create a waypoint towards that. And as we turn a bit, let's see. We do, of course, have the two mining auto miners here over there. Naturally, it's the ones I choose first. I always choose the last one first, but here's the crashed capital vessel. And we'll do this live because it's going to be a challenge since it does appear to be relatively near. I believe that's actually the drone base. So I am going to just swoop in. I do not intend to attack the mining facility yet, or the drone base rather. Do that when we do get our bigger ships, just as I stated on the ACO version of it. So if we can swoop in, I think we will get the update, and then we can proceed forward from there. If we get close enough. Did we get the update? Yes, we did. A little weaving, see if I can avoid getting shot in the process. Very good. So now the only update that is left for that quest is going to be the abandoned factory on Omicron. We will do a very similar process there. We'll just swoop in and get the update because that base is of a similar size to the abandoned mine that we did last episode, so that will certainly be an episode of its own, and I'm really not prepared at this point since there's other things on the immediate agenda to go chasing after things in a new planet that we have not yet visited. We'll head us back to the ship and then go over to the trading station. Now, as I do head over that direction, as you can see it's not far, you will note I did turn on the map temporarily. I wanted to see the situation with the drones, but as you can see there is not a single drone on the map. Some of the resources that I had harvested to get the stone, you can see have begun to respawn. There is in fact a new neodymium asteroid which I had not found previously. The ones that I had found you can see are marked, but so the zone is sort of respawning. The resources are continuing to spawn, which is a good thing. We'll have plenty of resources that we have. I think I probably overdid it because I did do the maximum amount of resources and the maximum size for each resource, which certainly is substantially more than anybody could possibly use, especially seeing as they continue to respawn. So perhaps the next playthrough we do, I will turn the resources down so it's not quite so overabundant. And I will fly us over to the base and once again see you when we are much closer to it. And as we approach the trading station, I am imagining that we will get the update for that automatically as well. I do have it set to disappear or to remove the waypoint as we approach. So we'll see if we get the check or if we have to get out. There we go, there is the check. Rather what I anticipated. Very good. So the next step, therefore, we can move on to the next location. And from here, let's see, let's go ahead. How much time do we actually have left? We have 10 minutes. Very good. So on that quest, we see we have Ningus, we have Omicron, Mastron, and Aestus. Alright, well, we'll go right ahead over and find a location, therefore, in the trading outpost, which is not part of that list. That's why I was checking there at first, but we can head there. I believe there were a few drones flying about. We will have to see if those actually respawn or not. Since they do not in this zone, I am a little doubtful, but it's possible. Go ahead and turn our ship over to the orange arrow. Feel like I'm going around in a full circle. Obviously I went the long way around the circle. Point up, get up to speed, hit our K key, and that will bring us into the trading station central hub. Here we go. And yes, most certainly there are quite a few drones in this area, aren't there? Of various sorts. Let's see. Space drone. Are they all space drones? There's a freighter. There's quite a bit of stuff here. I'm wondering, almost making me rethink. I'm wondering if I may want to actually place it on Aqua. Reason being is because the corpse is basically just a single layer concrete base, and if it does blow, if some drone comes by and manages to blow a hole in the side of it when I'm out of the zone, the amount of oxygen that is inside is roughly 250,000, so it is a lot of oxygen. Perhaps we should take advantage. I know I had mentioned that in a previous episode. Perhaps we should take advantage of the non-spawning areas within Aqua. You can also see here, it looks like there's Sathium as the asteroids here, so I'm really contemplating this hard here. And I really think Aqua is probably the smart way to go for it, because there's nothing here other than its central location, but there is plenty of the pentaxid on the moon that we can get quite easily there as need be. I think what I will do before we leave the area, though, we'll go ahead and do the drone hunter and activate that, and then we'll at least get the space drone update on this zone, or within this zone. And then we'll double back to Aqua, and we will in fact place the base there. I really think that's the better way to go. So we'll zoom, cruise in and take out a drone. There we go, finally zeroed in on one. You saw I was kind of zooming around in circles. I'll just fast forward through that point. And as we get closer, however, our guns should shoot. And there we go. Now we have the space drone update. Go ahead and loot this and then return us back to our home system, and I will meet you there. So as you can see, I'm still here, but in actuality I'm back here. As I had mentioned just a moment ago, I was really considering putting it on Aqua, but as I got there I decided I would rather be in the central location, because it occurred to me that the drones may in fact not be respawning here either. The blueprint has actually been done for a while now, but as you may recall, the drone that I did take out was kind of up in this location here. Thus far it has not respawned as yet. So I'm going to gamble that they will not respawn here either. As a result, I'll take these out in fairly short order, just with a small craft, and that will reduce or perhaps even remove the drone threat from this area, and I would much prefer to be in a central location. So with that said, let's go ahead and fill ourselves up with oxygen. I have actually emptied the other stuff out of my inventory, but we will go in and load up with as much oxygen as possible. I am truly hoping that we will not lose all the plants that I have in there, because they often do take, if they die upon spawning it will take quite a while to reproduce all the seeds for them, though I do have some of every seed available, 10 or more of each, so that shouldn't be a real hardship if that is the case. Just a matter of some time, which naturally, as a retiree, I do have. So, load up with all the oxygen we can. As you can see, I do have some fuel in there also. There we go. Also have the other 3 auto mining devices. We should have time to place those by the time the episode is over on the remaining 3 resources on the the Masterin Moon, as well as Adis. So, turn jetpack on. This is exactly where we spawned when I did warp into the area. So we will see if that remains consistent as well. I don't know if you appear in different regions of this zone or not when you come in from different directions, but we will see how that transpires as time goes on. I am going to fly a little forward, closer to the asteroid cloud, so we have something to look at. There is a star and all that here, so that should be fine. I will hit the O key to line us up with the level of the galaxy. Let's see, where is the plane, I should say, of the map plane is really more the accurate way to say that. Makes it a little easier to land the small vessels and capital vessels in a square location with that routine. And go into the factory, F2. And actually I want to be in the library, don't I? Yes, okay. We have the corpse highlighted, and press the spawn key, and spawning it, there's our base appearing, as it were. It will take a moment or two, of course, to finish rendering. Going forward to it as quickly as possible to place oxygen and power, because it appears it is not powered up, even though when I saved it, it was actually powered on. So go ahead and main oxygen, fill all fuel and power. Alright, now I can turn off. Looks like I need to make a bunch more power and such for it, but I see, do we have enough oxygen? The oxygen still is not enough. Uh-oh. Okay, there we go. So I did have enough with a full backpack of oxygen, so I will continue to harvest oxygen. I have a bunch more in the ship, as well as the generators on Aqua. See if we can go down to the very bottom, but this is it, with a big old con tower in the top center. Huge internal bay, which is really what chews up most of the oxygen. As we get down a level here. So I will have the majority of my small vessels and such landed within the base on a regular basis. And we'll load up as we go out and do things on the other ships. And with luck, as we get down to the bottom floor here, yay, our plants are alive. That's what I was hoping. This will take a little time to actually harvest these, because as you can see, I actually saved the blueprint with them in completed growth stage, but this will give us plenty of resources, along with, I think, 16 refrigerators, something, within the base. But we will have everything we need to know, plenty of the canned vegetables, which, as you probably know, is among my favorite foods that I keep with me. But we will also have enough that we can do anything else within here as well. Go ahead and take a look at the devices. I have about 8 hours with the fuel I had, so I will have to create a bunch more fuel as well, but we have the Promethium to do so, as well as the resources in addition to do that as well. We have 60 cargo boxes, which are actually spare cargo boxes. These are all just standard size, but they will be our catch-alls as we return with loot. 5 constructors, which is actually a furnace plus 4 constructors for appropriate needs, so I can have numerous things going at once. Doors, in and out, a bunch of them. Equipment I have set up for the armor locker and repair stations only. That is really more for the armor use, but I have one of those on the level on the inside we came through, which I will go up and show you right now. So you turn off the jetpack. Hurt myself from falling down 5 feet, go figure. Let's see, but on the inside of the hangar bay, which I think I did step out on briefly, but we do have one of each of the healing bays, the restroom and shower, as well as we have an ATM in here so we can replace our gold, as well as the what do you call these things, the stations, the medic stations. Gotta look now because I'm having a brain scanners. There we go. But as you can see, I have 5 of each of those as well, plus the armor, and healing pad, and oxygen, of course. Since this is a space base, we will be occasionally using the oxygen to get in and out. But then, as you can see, it is fully lighted. The lights are collision transparent, I should say. You can walk right through them. So even though they are the vertical lights, they will not actually get in the way while landing small vessels within here. Most of the cargo boxes and fuel pods and things of that nature are in these things in the crosshairs of the framework. So you can see the deck itself up above is actually glass, as are the majority of the walls, so we can see outside things like the sun and the asteroid field and all that. But on these here, on the central diagonal locations, if we go down, it actually drops us down into just kind of a view area, which we can step outside, of course. That area there is the center. You can see there are some turrets and the like there to help protect the base, and that is where all our growth plots are. And then I have some splattered around the outside edges of it, again with glass area, so we have relative visibility. And then if we raise up top all the way, first set of doors, which I think we already went by, which is actually the other, the internal bay. Then we get out to the main deck. These also are just basically glass boxes, so we'll be able to see any capital vessels, which I will have multiples, of course. We have 2 slated for the minimum, but I'll likely spawn some others as time progresses through the game. Then in the corners up here on the deck, again with more turrets along the outside walls as well. I had these walls up originally because my intent was to be able to have our small vessels cruise around up here, which is a suggestion I've made on their suggestion forums, because small vessels do not function in space, even in artificial gravity. I can understand why they would not want them to function properly in space, as they are basically a ground vehicle. But to me, it makes no sense in a gravity scenario like this. So if I land the capital vessel that has a hover vessel in it and I want to move it to a different capital vessel, that is not an option because you cannot lower them. They do not move in the downward direction. So that particular issue never made sense to me. Hopefully that will be something that's on their wish list, or their to-do list, I should say. Certainly on my wish list. But we'll see if that transpires. So for now, I will have to remain or keep the hover vessels docked while I am here. The only way I'll be able to move a hover vessel from one capital vessel to another will be to fly it to a planet, land it, and then return, return to the base, I should say, and then take the other capital vessel to the same location on that planet to put it aboard. Anyway, in the corner here, as you can see, we do have the full variety of all the healing and utilities, including the armor repair, etc. In each of the four corners it is the same, because as you will see as I'm running across here, we'll only go halfway, but this does take a moment because it is a substantial sized base, which is why it took so many of the resources, even though it is primarily just a single concrete shell for the internal landing area itself. That is all sealed, of course, with the force fields and the like. As I'm still talking here, this big tower is more a view area. If I recall properly, it's been a while since I've been on the base, I admit, but I don't believe I have any functionality up there. It is kind of just a view area, but we will go up top there to take a look as well. Again, with the size, takes a little while. You do have it marked with the red lights and all that, like your classic real-world airline towers are. As we get up to the top here, we will stop and exit. So now you can see down on top of whatever is down there. When I crafted this, I did have the my current crafted capital vessels on board, so I could measure it side by side, and this is taller than the tallest of my vessels, so we'd be able to look down on the whole things. You may have seen that in previous episodes. I believe it was maybe episode 6 or 7, where I basically highlighted this base once already, but seeing as it's now spawned in an actual game, we will go from there. Now we'll return back to the graveyard and begin to move all the resources over to this base, and then that will give us an idea of what we will need to continue to collect to finish fueling it up. I know oxygen and promethium will be too, but we'll see where we're at by the end. And now as we approach, see we were a little bit below it where it actually spawned us, but if we hit the O key now, you will see that the ship, regardless how I am, will line up with it. Just as an example, hitting the O key puts us back in the map plane, so that will allow us now to move forward right over to the base. Forget this thing doesn't really have much in the way of brakes. And then drop us down. Are actually far enough away that the lighting does not really display until we are close because the base is so large, but this kind of gives you a scale because most are familiar with this particular ship as it is one of the prefabs, but it is a very small area on the landing deck, as it were. Upon completing that, the other thing I realized as I was moving the ship over is that I neglected to finish going down the list of things within the corpse, which I also need to name, I realized as I was coming over as well. So we'll go ahead and just stand out here in space for a moment, hit the P key, and let's see, we're at the scanners we were talking about. but plenty of fuel tanks. These are all the larger fuel tanks, again, to help with power, much as I had done with the Graveyard's final version. Few lights, couple here and there, as you can see. But the other main thing is for the resource storage. I actually have 65 set aside as opposed to 20 like we have on the Graveyard, and those are all the smaller containers, but these are in fact the cargo box 3s. I can hit the right pull down since I missed there. Resource storage. But I have them broken up, expecting we would need a lot of fuel, of course, to keep it up, so I will focus a lot on Promethium when I'm doing the mining and the like. But these are all, as I said, the large storage, so we have plenty of space to store resources as we continue to harvest. With my casual gaming style, I do spend quite a bit of time harvesting. I know I've mentioned in previous episodes that I have been known in many of the games I have played as a real resource nut, and I would have just about anything anybody needed. I do intend to continue doing that, even if just for myself in single player here in this game. Now I will go down and harvest the plants just to get a good idea of what we collect. I think there were 468 plots down there, so it will take me a few moments to do that. But upon completion, I will put all this stuff in the refrigerators, because they have also adjusted the rewards or the income for each plant. As most of you likely know at this point, things like tomatoes now grant you 4 tomatoes per plant, whereas originally they were only 1. So it's possible I may need to alter this a little more to get some more refrigeration in place. So there we go. I've done a complete round of harvesting downstairs. Took long enough, as you can see. Some of the pumpkins are already starting to respawn by the time I completed the other side over here. You can see right through the floor, of course, because I did make a glass window kind of on the base around the growing area. The other reason I like this here is another reason I actually do like to have space bases, because you can actually fly if you choose to, just by hitting the J key, since there is gravity in the base itself, but there is actually no gravity in space, so you can actually fly from place to base if you so choose. So with that, I guess the next step, we will go ahead and place the last 3 harvesters on the other 3 planets, and we will swing by Omicron to finish the quest in the top right that we can see right now in the process. And then that should wrap up this episode. Here we are in Omicron. I have the trade station ahead, which is the last update for this particular... Oh, wait a minute. Nope, my bad. That's right. Omicron, actually, we need the advanced factory, don't we? Okay. So let's go down to the planet and find that, I suppose. This will take a little longer than I actually had intended to spend, I will admit, because I will need to search the planet for it, but I would like to knock this quest out. So we'll go ahead and do that. To get it close enough, I'll just put this ship in relative standby mode and fly down with our small vehicle. The trade station itself is one of several, so we will do that in another episode. Here we go, I found it. It is, looks like it's right near, I think that's the abandoned, or the drone facility over there. There are a few drones flying about, so I'm just going to see if I can fly by quickly just to get the update to complete the quest. Not hearing any sounds, though. I'm not sure what's up with that quite. Something is a little buggy, but with luck we can get by. Close enough. Take a hit. Okay, there's our quest done. Maybe I can escape. Without taking too much damage. Okay, that's not too bad. Very good. Hey-ho, barrier in the way. Okay, am I safe? I think I am. Okay. well, that's that update. So that completed that quest, as I said. Still a lot more to find on this planet. As you can see, I started doing the circular thing from the top down when I did stumble across it down here. The drone base is right about there, so very well. Up we go, and off to Masprin or Adis. See which is closest. I want to say it's Adis will be the first one, because I believe I have to actually relay back through Aqua to get there, but we'll see how that works, and I'll bring you back in as we're landing on Adis. So here I am approaching Adis. We will need to do some searching, I suspect, to get or to find the resources. But as I am approaching here in the planetary blaze, as it were, I pause for a second once we get through it to open my inventory, but the reward for the quest that I had just completed, the name of which was Custom Tours, the reward for that is actually the Epic Pistol, along with some bullets and some gold as well. So I'll reach out to you again directly here, I believe the second time this episode, in fact, for Max524. I know you have been searching for an Epic Pistol. You had commented on that during your series, but that is a guaranteed way to get that as an actual quest reward in order to get your Epic Pistol. So thought I would mention that for your benefit, and I hope that helps. Alright, now we're searching around here for the resources, as I had said, but you'll notice in the upper right there I did also change the quests so we can work on the drones while we're doing this. One of which was drones. If I can actually fly here, which is unlikely. But plasma drones is one of the updates we need. Very good. So now the only drone that's left for that quest is the rocket drone, which I believe are also on this planet. Now, you also may have noticed, as I was mentioning the quest rewards for the last quest. Oof, heavy atmosphere here. But you may also have noticed that it was a green planet. I actually was landing on Skillion, which was nothing more than my mistake, so I did proceed forward to Adis, which is where we are actually located currently, so we can find the Erestrum and the gold that I would like to acquire via the mining drones, or excuse me, the auto miners. So I'll proceed forward and see if I can't find those resources, because they are located here. We do have a couple that we had mapped the last time. I need to find a gold yet, but there are actually 3 Erestrum on here somewhere. So why don't I go ahead, let's see, this is supply station, that's an aggressive one. Now we can head over to the trading station, there's one we can do. So I'll go ahead and set that as the waypoint, and we'll head towards that one for the moment. With luck, we will find gold between here and there. And as I had hoped, we had found gold. So actually 2 of them right here next to each other. We'll go for the larger of the 2. I think that increases the speed at which you acquire it from within the miner. Let's see, a couple drones as well. There's a plasma drone, and the other one, minigun drone. Well, I'll take those out. I was hoping to find a rocket drone. We aren't quite done yet, of course, so we'll see if we manage to get that along the way yet. But in the meantime, if I can, ouch. I guess I should shoot the other one down before I loot that one, huh? It's a large one. You may blow up now, thank you. Okay. Go ahead and loot these guys. Sliding across, looks like I have to actually shut the engines off. Taking a little bit of damage here, but As long as we don't lose any blocks, it's really no loss. Tip the drone out. And loot this one. And the other one's probably too far away. We will see if we can get there or not. No, we're not going to make that, I don't think. Nope, sure enough aren't. Okay. Turn our motors back on. And loot it. Where'd it go? I guess it disappeared. Oh well. Sail it be. But we're heading over to this gold deposit here. And we can drop the first of the 3 auto miners. Let's see, is it under? Where is it under us? I think. Over here. And we'll drop this right here. I'll just shut the motors off because there are no active drones in the area. And we'll just run over. Place the auto miner in and drop some fuel in it. Hello, where'd it go? Looks like I'm standing right on top of it, but obviously I'm not. What the heck? Where'd it go? I'm standing right on top of it according to the map, and perhaps it's too far down for me to harvest. Large minigun gold deposit. Okay, that's the other one. 1 on 2 meters. That's oh, he gave me a little scare. Wasn't expecting that, but okay. Little meat, I guess. I'm not seeing the gold. Looks like I'm standing right on it on the map, but I don't actually see it any longer. What the heck is going on with that? Let's see. Let's turn my jetpack on, of course, but okay, it's right down there. 29 meters. So if I look out this way, come on, turn blue. It's not that difficult, is it? I wonder why it's not turning blue. I'm a little confused at this one. I think you can use these on this planet, can't you? Other baddie. What's attacking me now? You guys. Better go heal up, I guess. Of course, I don't have any healing things. So I'll just do this from the ship, but I'm at a loss right now why I can't place this down on this planet, because I know, in fact, I've seen others do it on this planet, so I'm not sure what's going on here. Okay. Poisonous bite. Damn it, I'm gonna die. This is, damn. Well, okay. I guess I'll get out of the ship, but, why am I not able to place the gold extractor on that? Okay, let's try this again by another method. Basically reassemble myself to some extent, but see if I can do it with the drone, perhaps. I don't understand why it is not allowing. Is it perhaps too sloped? I am pretty much straight above it. But it is not turning blue regardless what I do. I wonder if maybe we can't harvest gold with these guys since they do not disappear. I suppose that is a possibility. Okay then. I'll move over to the other one and give that a try shortly and see if that works. If not, then we'll just go with the Arrestrum and these Ascosium and then place the other auto harvester we have on some Promethium, because additional fuel never hurts, as I know I've said before. try this one. I do see there's an alien nearby, so do it as carefully as possible as to not gain aggro. Just kind of hover above the ground a little bit here and get out of the ship and hit F5. Very kind of hard to look straight down with the drone with the auto leveling, of course, but okay. Well, my theory at the moment, at least, is that we cannot harvest gold with it. I'll go over to the arrest room and see what happens there, and I'll bring you back in once we arrive at that location. Okay, so here we are next to the arrest room. Let's see what happens when we try the same routine here. If we use the drone, so I don't take aggro from the beasties that killed me last time. Yeah, so it's blue here. So I guess the answer there is, I guess you cannot harvest gold with the auto miners, which I suppose does make some amount of sense, but it is certainly not what I was hoping for, obviously enough. Okay, come closer. Can we? I guess we can't actually access it from the drone, can we? I guess I'll have to pull the ship up a little closer now that we know precisely where it is. Again, I'm going to try not to get off the ship so we can avoid getting aggro, but I can reach it if I get up right tight close. Kind of like that. Okay. Access it. We'll place in fusion cells so it lasts the longest. 240 per hour, so very good. Now we have some arrest room coming in for us. Operation time, go another day or so, but voila, arrest room aura. Okay. But no gold. I'll have to do some research on that. I will hold the auto miner in my inventory for the moment while I do some research, likely while I'm uploading this episode, and I'll have an answer on that for episode 16, I guess is the best I can say for the moment. So I will head back to our mothership, to the graveyard, and move us over to the arrest room moon. Jeez. To Maspron moon. One of these days I'll get the names of the resources and planets straight. Perhaps. Though probably not likely. So now, as we approach Maspron moon, we go for the last resource, namely Zascosium. As I was traveling, however, I did throw it in pause for a little while and did some light research on the gold. In theory, it is supposed to work just like any other resource. Harvest it with drills or anything of that nature, but with that said, I will also admit that the majority, in fact I think every one of the posts that I read in the half hour or so I did searching, was related to Alpha 4 or 5. So it's possible they may have changed that in 6. We'll have to do some further experimentation, but one possibility I did notice that they had mentioned was that there's one, okay. Sorry, I got sidetracked there. Was that they have had some issues. Sometimes the gold is further down in the surface, too far for the mining device to actually get at it. You may need to mine it by hand. I will check also in the future as we go. I don't know if I'll do that between episodes, etc. I don't have much of the pentaxid left. I need to spend what we have left to return back to Akko to collect more before I do much of anything. But we should be able to do that. Okay, we found some Zascosium. Got about 15,000 deposit, 14 change, whatever. Landed nearby it, so we'll go ahead and see if we can put it right from the ship here. Get this one launched. Should be right nearby. Yeah, I guess my inventory is near full. I did pick off a drone as I was coming down. That's likely what that cargo container came from. Nonetheless, if we exit out here, we can then fuel it up. Okay. And looks like about 360 per hour for this as well, so this we'll leave this rolling for a little while. So now we have all of our ores going. There we go. Head back to our ship and we'll be good to go. Now heading back, we'll see, because I am kind of curious as to whether we appear in the same spot again. Of course, I need to refuel, which I knew was coming, just didn't know when exactly. Still have enough to get back to Aqua, but as I had mentioned a moment ago, that is most certainly going to be the next objective that I perform, to get more of the warp fuel. Let's see where we end up. Okay, and not too far away, a little above it. Hey ho, or below it. Yeah, I guess I got turned around. A little above it, so that's not too bad. We can pretty much drop straight down with that being the case, which isn't a bad location. We'll see if we end up at the same spot all the time. I may not have been exactly at the spawn spot when I placed it, because I did raise. I was going to go in a little closer, but then I dropped it down. Probably should have warped out and back again just to make sure, but I don't know. What I do know, though, is that I'm okay. It's the world that's all wrong. It's just a matter of perspective. I thank you very much for watching, and take care.